Then I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna try to mute my computer. Okay. So welcome everyone to Afternoon Gentle Yoga. I'm going to tell you a boring story about my closet that I swear I will make a segue into how it relates back to yoga. So, so when we first moved into our house in 2017, we had a closet in our bedroom that was, not the best layout. And I had too many clothes. And so my closet kind of just, everything got shoved in there, right? Like it fit, but not well, and it was hard to navigate. And part of this construction project we were just discussing with this, my in-law suite, was that we also built off of our master bedroom. We put on a master bathroom and a walk-in closet. And so I've just now been able to slowly start to put things away in my closet, and it's bringing me maybe an not normal amount of joy. Like I'm loving it because it's like everything's organized and neat, and I can see things, and I'm taking the time to go through clothing that, I got pregnant in 2018, and I used to work full-time in a yoga studio. I don't wear those clothes that much anymore. I have stuff from my 20s, just like all of these different identities that have kind of played out through my clothing or in my face. And I'm just taking the time to sort it, to purge it, and to make it make sense. And it's reminded me of one of the limbs of yoga, actually, which is this concept of tapas, which is when we put this effort into something on a continual basis. Because when I step back from this year of construction and I look at my whole house, I get really overwhelmed because there's still so much disarray. There's still so much stuff that's displaced that needs to be put away, that's not. There's bags of clothes that I haven't touched in how many years, and I'm like, oh, I don't even kind of just want to just throw it in the trash. But it's this little effort every day towards creating more order and a pattern. And that's really what yoga is. It's like these daily, quote unquote, daily effort, or however often we can get to our mat, where we're putting in this effort and doing the same poses over and over again until it creates this new pattern and system, new structure in our lives. And when we may not notice it on the day-to-day, right? Like I'm kind of just getting to the point now in the closet where I can see like, okay, the house is coming back together. Like it seems like it's moving in a little more of a direction of order than the disorder that it's been. And that's kind of the same thing that happens with our yoga practice, is that over time, when we first start yoga, we probably are slumped like this, like we've been on the computer, or driving, whatever it is. And throughout the course of the practice, maybe our shoulders go back a little more and a little more. We open up our chest, and by the end, they're like, this feels better. And that's tapas. It's this continuous effort that we put forth. And the other thing with this closet analogy is that yoga really does help us to step back from all of the different identities that we wear in our lives, where we're mothers and friends and daughters and sons and co-workers and the household cook, or every little role that we play in our lives, we get to leave at the door and create a space where we can just be who we are, this true essence of ourselves, and kind of get back to who that is and how we want to portray that to the world. So let's take a nice comfortable seat. You can move the flesh away from your sitting bones. Sit up nice and tall. And close your eyes. And take a moment to let yourself land here. As you are on this day, in this moment, this version of yourself. We are always changing, not only our identity and how we express ourselves outwardly, but also physically, our body is always changing. We age, we gain weight, we lose weight, we have injuries, we heal, we get sick, we feel well, we're well nourished, we're tired. Our physical self is in a constant state of shift, and yoga asks us to welcome and embrace ourselves just as we are. Yoga asks us to create a space where we can welcome the parts of ourselves that are orderly and functioning well, and the parts that are disheveled, the parts that need a little more tenderness and care. Take a moment to notice your physical body and see if there are any small adjustments you could make to your seat to find a little more ease in your body that's showing up today. And then on your next inhale, sit up a little taller, let the crown of your head rise up to the sky. Breathe in and take your shoulders up, back, and down. Notice your tongue in your mouth. Move it away from the back of your teeth. Let it get heavy and wide on the lower palate of the mouth. Widen the corners of your eyes and allow your eyeballs to descend back in your sockets, dropping back and down into yourself. And then see if you could bring the center of your head right over the tailbone, the base of your spine. For many of us, this means that we lean back just slightly. And then take a moment to welcome this version of yourself that's perhaps a little bit different than the you that first sat on your mat. And notice how this small effort to just sit in stillness and center, to breathe and consciously relax the body, how this practice of tapas is rewarded. And then please bring your hands together in front of your heart. I invite you to set an intention for your practice today. It could be to put in the effort somewhere in your life to get something in order at the start of this new year, to do that daily effort that over time sets a new foundation for our lives. Or perhaps it's to welcome this current version of yourself, allow parts of your past identities to be shed, or to perhaps become just a little less attached to those daily roles that we play. Whatever your intention, hold it here close to your heart, and we'll seal in our intentions and begin our class with 3 cleansing breaths. Take a deep breath in, and let it go with a sigh. 2 more like that. And then gently bow your head to your heart. Slowly open your eyes and release your hands. So we're going to start actually in a more yin pose, a supported pose called heart bench. So we need 2 blocks for this, and you place your blocks this way on your mat, one in its high setting and one straight across this way. And then come to sit, with your head on the ground, bring your hands back behind you, inhale and make your spine nice and long. And as you exhale, lower yourself down so that the first block starts right behind your heart center. And the second block catches your head. And if you don't have blocks at home, you could roll a blanket and place it behind your heart in a passive back bend with the support of the blanket. And then here, close your eyes, let your arms come down by your sides with your palms face up. You could keep your knees bent and take your feet as wide as your mat, your knees knock in onto each other, or stretch your legs out long in front of you, or you could bring the soles of your feet together and your knees wide. Whatever feels best on your body. We won't be here as long as we would for a typical yin pose, but the idea here is just to continually shed layers of tension and relax into the support of the blocks and the ground beneath us, so that through this continual time and effort to let go, we witness and observe how the pose opens and changes. Maybe how we begin to open and change. Then make a little space between your lower jaw and your upper jaw. And notice the skin on your face. Let that soften. Relax your cheeks. And imagine the sense of a smile at the corners of your mouth. Imagine the sense of a smile at the corners of your eyes. And imagine the sense of a smile with your ears. Notice if you're resisting the blocks, doing extra work to support yourself when you don't have to. And see if instead you could allow yourself to be supported. Let's take a few more breaths here. And then inhale your knees back to center. So slowly and gently make your way off of the blocks and come to pause on your side for just a few breaths. Move the blocks off of your mat. And then from here, go ahead and make your way up to all fours, coming to the tabletop position. Bring your knees just under your hips or slightly behind, and walk your hands forward so your wrists are underneath your shoulders. We'll move through a couple of rounds of cat-cow here. Maybe there are some areas of your back that are tender or tight after a hard bench. You could always pause and breathe into those areas, or imagine that your breath is a golden light that floods any area that needs it. Come back to a neutral spine, tuck your toes, and press back into down dog. And pedal out your feet here, bending one knee, sending the opposite heel towards the ground. So down dog may be the pose where we can most clearly the effort of tapas in our practice, where the first down dog may feel really tight, with like a lot of work or awkward, and then at some point in class, down dog becomes more of a resting pose. On your next inhale, walk your feet forward to meet your hands, and exhale as you fold down over your legs. If your hamstrings are tight, keep your knees bent, and then press down into your feet, and as you inhale, reach your arms all the way to the side. And exhale, hands to your heart. Take a look down at your feet, see that they're parallel, sitting bone or hip distance apart. Root down, and then inhale, sweep your arms all the way up. Exhale, bow forward and fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway to a flat back. Exhale, step back, downward facing. On your next inhale, come forward to a high plank, high push-up. Your knees could stay up, or you could bring your knees down. And as you exhale, bring your sternum forward and bend your elbows straight back as you lower all the way down to your belly. Point your toes straight back, press the tops of the feet down into the earth. Take your shoulders up, back and down. And then on your next breath, in, lift your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Knees wide, big toes to touch. Come into child's pose. Take a few breaths here and melt your heart towards the mat. Walk your hands over to the right so you can stretch through your left side body. Come back through center, walk your hands over to the left until you get a stretch through your right side body. Inhale back through center, walk your hands in just enough so that you can thread your right arm underneath your left, coming into a twisted child's pose. You bring your right shoulder down, right ear comes to the ground or to a block. Press into your left hand, inhale, sweep your right arm up to the sky, twist your heart open. Exhale, right hand comes down, thread your left arm underneath your right, coming to rest on your left shoulder, left ear to the mat. Press into your right hand, inhale, sweep your left arm up, your heart open. Exhale, release, come up to all fours. This time walk your hands out a couple of inches and take them a little wider. And then we'll find some big hip circles here. So send your hips back and over to the right, swing them over to the left, up towards your left wrist and over towards your right. You can close your eyes here, feeling into your body, maybe even your head gets involved, stretching out the neck. The next time you pass through center, pause and change direction. Inhale, come back through center, walk your hands back in, and once again, downward facing dog. Notice here any difference or change from your first set of down dogs till now. On your next inhale, take your right leg to the sky. Exhale, step your right foot up in between your hands. Take your time until your right knee is over your right ankle. Keep your left hand down and inhale, sweep your right arm up. Press your left thigh up to the sky, hug your legs in towards each other, curl your shoulders back, lean back, heart open. Breathe. Exhale, release. Downward facing dog. Options here to stay in down dog, to rest in child's pose, or to move through a vinyasa, your choice. From down dog, left leg lifts as you inhale. Lunge it forward as you exhale. Take your time to find your alignment with your knee over your ankle, then your right hand stays down, inhale, sweep your left arm up. Press your right thigh up to the sky, press out through your right heel. Curl your shoulders back, lean back. Find your breath. Exhale, release, and downward facing dog. Same three options here to stay in down dog, to find child's pose, or to flow through vinyasa. We'll all make our way back into down dog, and then as you inhale, step your feet forward to meet your hands. Exhale as you fold. Toe heel your feet, hip distance apart or even as wide as your mat. And then grab onto opposite elbow tips and let your torso. You could sway side to side here. And then release the clasp with your elbows, put a little bend into your knees. Keep that bend and then slowly start to roll up your spine, stacking one vertebrae on top of the other until you come all the way up to stand. Take your shoulders up, back, and down, a couple of shoulder rolls. Bring your feet back to parallel. Hands to heart center. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, bow forward and fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway to a flat back. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts as you inhale, lunge it forward as you exhale. Hug your legs in towards each other so the right hip moves back, the left hip moves forward, so the pelvis is more level towards the front of the mat. Press down into your feet. When you feel stable, inhale, reach your arms up. And then bring your arms down into cactus. Take your elbows forward of your wrists. Draw your shoulder blades onto your back. Lift your heart, maybe a little back bend here, look up. And then you can extend your arms up from there. Exhale, reach your hands back down to the ground. Pause here. Pivot your back heel down. Find heel to arch alignment. And when you're ready, cartwheel your arms up, warrior two. Take a moment here to soften. Maybe you relax something in your face. Maybe you relax the pattern of your breath. And notice the difference in your body. That sounded good. Flip your front palm, reverse your grip. The added benefit of yoga, the chiropractic adjustment. And then cartwheel your arms down, downward facing dog. Move through vinyasa or not. From down dog, inhale your left leg to the sky. Exhale, lunge it forward. Pause here in a lunge. Set yourself up, hug the legs in. Left hip draws back, right hip moves forward. Press your right thigh up to the sky and press out through your right heel. Then root down through your feet. When you're ready, arms reach. And then same thing here, bring your arms to cactus, take your elbow tips forward of your wrists, draw your shoulder blades onto the back of your heart. Maybe you come back just a little bit more and then arms straighten and reach up to the sky. Exhale, hands back down to frame your front foot, just so that you can pivot your back heel down. Find heel to arch alignment, cartwheel your arms up, warrior two, second side. And so, everyone in this class has been practicing yoga for years and years at this point. So how many warrior twos have we done? And yet each one is different every time. So check in with this particular warrior two, this particular day, and this particular body, and see if there's anything that you could slightly adjust. Maybe there's more effort needed, or maybe there's more ease. Flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Partly your arms down, downward facing dog. Optional vinyasa once again. We'll all meet in child's pose this time. Find your way back into downward facing dog. Right leg lifts as you inhale. This time your right knee comes forward for pigeon. So right knee moves towards your right wrist. Perhaps you need to walk your back toes back and in towards the midline a little bit more. So we want to find that same kind of levelness of the pelvis towards the front of the mat. So here, that right hip moves forward as the moves back as the left hip moves forward. Inhale, lift your heart, shoulders on your back. And then exhale, find your variation of pigeon today. Maybe it's forearms to blocks or to the ground, or maybe it's arms straight out, chest to the earth. One of the teachings or philosophies in Buddhism says that when there's clutter in our environment, it's reflected back in the state of our mind. And so that we can never truly find a state of peace or order in the mind if there's dust balls and socks under our bed. And one of the things that this practice of yoga gives to us is an opportunity to find a sense of stillness and order in the thinking mind by detaching from it. By saying, okay, thank you, brain, for thinking these thoughts and inviting me into this story. But instead, I'm going to stay here and train my attention and awareness on my breath. So that we create an environment in the body where we're cleaning out those dark spaces in our hips, in our mind, the attics of our hearts that have grown cobwebs, And clearing out the dust under the bed. Just a few more breaths. And then you'll slowly walk your hands up, tuck your back toes if they're not already, and make your way into downward facing dog. Take your right leg to the sky, bend your right knee, open up the hips, stack the right hip on top of the left. Keep your armpits level towards the mat. Exhale, release. And second side, left leg lifts as you inhale, bring your left knee forward for pigeon as you exhale. And if this variation of pigeon, this pre-parent variation doesn't work in your body, you could always do this on your back. Find your fullest expression of pigeon today. And then see if you could settle in. And then maybe here we notice where we hold on to tension, where we have patterns of gripping, control, all of the ways that we try to brace ourselves for when we get through or move through discomfort. And see if you can practice releasing it. Letting go of that thin layer of tension that rests on the surface of the skin. Maybe you can melt your heart a little bit more. Or send your breath where it's needed in the body. And just a few more breaths here. And slowly make your way out of pigeon and back into down dog, taking your time to get there. And then take your left leg to the sky, open up the hip, so you bend your knee, running three-legged dog. Bring your left foot down. Optional final vinyasa here. Otherwise, you can stay in down dog, take a child's pose. And then from down dog, you can transition to all fours, you can sit. Take a moment to hydrate. And then we'll come to lay down on the backs. Have a block nearby as you lay down. Bend your knees, place your feet on the earth, sitting bone or hip distance apart, feet parallel. Inhale, reach your arms open. And see if you could lengthen out of your pelvis. Reach your fingertips further away from your toes. Make the sides of your body really long. Feel your sacrum and your pelvis, where those points connect to the ground, and notice if they're level, if one side tends to take more weight than the other or press into the ground more, if there's some misalignment happening, and see if you could level that out. And then exhale, bend your elbows by your sides with your fingertips straight up towards the sky, setting up for bridge. Before you do anything else, press from your elbow tips to the tops of your shoulders, the entire back of your upper arm roots down into the earth. And then see if you can feel your spine begin to pull away. So technically we've already found the bridge here, and maybe none of your vertebrae are touching the mat. Keep that, bring your awareness to your feet. Press into the inner edges of your feet a little more than the outer edges. And then inhale, lift your hips. Walk your shoulders underneath you a little bit more. Heart moves towards your face. Breathe. Exhale, slowly release. Bring one vertebrae at a time down towards the mat. And then take your feet as wide as your mat. Knock your knees in onto each other. You can place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Inhale, knees back to center. Toe feel your feet back to parallel, sitting bone or hip distance apart. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, bend your elbows by your sides. Press the backs of the arms down to the mat. Feel your spine away from the ground. Press into your feet. Inhale, lift your hips for your second bridge. Exhale, release. Feet wide, knees knock in, constructive rest once again. One hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. This time, switch hands. And then we'll set up for our third bridge, which can be a supported bridge with a block under the sacrum. So you'll inhale, lift your hips, place the block at whichever height is best for you, so that the entire sacrum can rest on the block and be supported. You can release your arms down by your sides and your palms face up. Tuck your shoulder blades onto your back. And just for the next few breaths, see if there's any part of the many faces and identities that we carry and wear and identify with that you could shed here with the skin. That you could just drop and release, handing over that energy to the earth. At stages like this, where you can take your right leg up to the sky. And then maybe the left leg comes up to meet the right, or you could do one leg at a time. Both legs are up, you bring your foot down to the earth. And then your left to meet it. Press down into both feet, lift up your hips, move your block off to the side. Take the soles of your feet together, knees wide, one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Inhale your knees back up to center. Hug your right knee into your chest and extend your left leg long. Flex your left foot. rooting down into the earth with the entire length of the back of your left. Squeeze your right knee in a little closer to your chest. Take your shoulders back and down, broaden your collarbones. And press the back of your head, your occiput, right into your neck. Take your right knee in your left hand, right arm comes out to the side in a goalpost or cactus arm. Inhale here as you exhale, twist. Guide your knee across your body, to the left, roll onto the outer left hip. If your right shoulder pops up off of the ground, no worries. You just rest your right hand on your right rib cage. You can turn to look out over your right shoulder to complete the twist. Inhale back to center. Release your right leg to meet your left. You could pause and notice if there's a subtle or not so subtle difference between one side of the body and the other. Inhale, reach your arms overhead, take a full body stretch. And then exhale, hug your left knee into your chest. Flex your right foot, press the right leg down into your mat. Squeeze your left knee in towards your body a little bit more. Broaden the collarbones. Keep the heart center open. And then connect the back of your head to the earth as well. Take your left knee and your right hand, left arm out to the side. Breathe in, exhale, twist. Inhale back to center. Hug both knees into your chest. You can give yourself a little massage here on your low back, making circles in one direction and then the other. Bring both knees back to center, then take your knees wide, so open the feet up towards the sky for happy baby. And grab onto the pinky toe edges of your feet or your ankles. And then whenever this pose feels complete for you, You can come into your final relaxation. It could be Shavasana, it could be legs up the wall, or some kind of supported or restorative pose. A moment in, take a full breath in, and a complete breath out. Let your body get heavy on the ground. Widen the corners of your eyes and let your eyeballs descend back into their sockets. Move your tongue away from the roof of your mouth, the back of the teeth. And give yourself permission here to let go of any weight that you've been carrying. Any version of yourself that you want to shed or release your attachment to in 2023, any year prior. Give yourself permission to let it go. Fully surrender to Shavasana. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Draw awareness back into your body as you wiggle your fingers, your toes. And begin to move and stretch in any way that feels good on your body. And then reach your arms overhead and take a full body stretch. Hug your knees into your chest. Gently roll to your right side. And slowly make your way back up to find a comfortable seat. Close your eyes and bring your hands together in front of your heart. Call back your intention that you set at the beginning of class. And notice if how you hold your intention is different. Notice if your practice has made you different. And take a moment to honor this transformation that happens on our mat when we show up for ourselves. To honor our practice and each other. And then we'll seal in our intentions and end our class with a final cleansing breath. Take a deep breath in and let it go. And gently bow your head to your heart. The light within me recognizes and honors this very same light in each one of you. Namaste. Thank you all so much for your practice. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Okay, you too. Thank you. Thanks, Debbie.
Thanks, Erin. See you later. Have a nice weekend.
You too. Thank you.